Okay, I am here with Jon Garcia and cast members of Summoning the Spirit. I watched this movie. Matter of fact, the review's going up in about an hour, and I will say I really enjoyed this one because it reminded me so much of Midsummer, plus a little known 80s cult classic, which I'll reveal which one it is later in the interview. But before we get started, I know John's a director here and co-wrote it. But the cast members who are here, can you introduce yourselves and tell us who do you play in the movie?
Hi, I'm Isabelle Muthiah. I play Celeste in the movie.
Hey,
I,
I'm Krystal Millie. Oh, go ahead, baby.
oh,
Go.
please. You. Please.
Good start. I'm Krystal Millie Valdes, and I play Paula.
Okay, there I go. Hi, I'm Ernesto Reyes, and I play Dean.
And I'm Robin Magdhalen, and I play Jerry.
Okay, so my first question is for John. John, where did the idea for this film come about? How did you come up with it?
Yeah, it was something that I was working on with Zach Carter during the pandemic, and we talked about writing a Bigfoot movie before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and we had not as much on our plate as usual, of course, and we started to throw the story back and forth. And at first it was just a Bigfoot story. And then I'd been watching a lot of documentaries, reading a lot about cults, like, even like incidental ones like Teal Swan, and that group, like the Rainbow folks, Ram Dass. I mean, I just started reading up about it, and eventually, like, just sort of try to put these two subgenres together and try to melt the story into something that cohesive. And it just happened like over the course of a year, and then after the pandemic, I was just, as things were opening back up again, I was just fired up to make a movie, and we just went for it. So
That's awesome. And the cast, you guys were great in this movie, hands down. I mean, you all had these different personalities. Carla and Dean, I felt like, they're the heart of the film. And I feel like the reason you guys move into this cabin is, in a way, you're trying to save your marriage because, some stuff is revealed. So, what was it like with you two in terms of the chemistry? Like, how'd you come about it? Because you guys are great in that, in your scenes together.
y'all are so cute.
Oh, I have a lot of love for Ernesto. He was an amazing scene partner and an amazing friend. And I feel like we met literally over Zoom in an audition, and I knew he was going to be an important part of my life. So I felt it really easy to settle into trusting him with vulnerability in the film. So
Well, for me, as soon as I had the honor to audition with Krystal over Zoom, and I don't know, I just knew she was the one. It was almost like her heart she was just like open, and I think as an artist you can recognize that in other performers, and you don't need too much. Like for me, it was easy. It was there. As soon as I hung up the call, I told my mom, I found my wife. And I told Johncito too, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, if there was characteristics, she had all the characteristics for the role, and off and on screen, it was just very delightful to share the screen with such a talented and amazing person.
Yeah, it was cool. He actually texted me right afterwards. There was a few other auditions that day, and then we'd have an audition, and then we'd have a little text real quick, and like, so what you think, and then on the last one, it was Krystal, and then he texted me like, I think you know which one's my favorite, and and it was clear, like they had Zoom chemistry, I guess, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
So what I found interesting was Robin's character. She's the realtor who gives, who tells him about the house, and then later reveals she's a member of the cult. And then I also liked Isabelle's character because she seems to be the most sympathetic of the whole entire cause. you know, of course we had Arlo, which Jesse Taya was great. Taya was great in that role. I mean, you know, he brought this real charm to the role, even though he's supposed to have these little sinister moments, but he just does it with such a happy face throughout like most of the film. But I really liked Isabel, that she's the most sympathetic because, you know, she got along with Carla like instantly, where we seen some of the other you know, cult members like kind of skittish towards her. So it was like Isabel and then Robin's character, they were the most welcoming to with when it came to Carla and Dean coming into the fray. So my question next is for Isabel and Robin. What's your take on working with Millie and Ernesto on this on set of the movie?
It was terrible. Oh, and you still no. I just remember coming on set the very first day, and within about an hour, I knew that I was in a very special place with very special people, and I still, you know, this whole experience was it's still so vivid for me. I've done other things and they were perfectly enjoyable, but this one really stuck in a particular way. And I think that what really was infused throughout this experience for me was just the level of kindness and support. No one was ego-filled, I'm important, you're not kind of thing. Everyone was treated from everyone on set, but you know, from the actors as well, because these are the two main actors, and I've experienced differently when that's the case. But I just felt very embraced by the two of them, and they were easy to love. They were, still are easy to love. So I guess that's my answer.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was so special to work with both of them. This was my first feature film I've ever done, my first movie. And so to have a woman who is like older than me, who has all of this experience that I got to live with and like look up to her and see how is she using her script? How is she speaking to the director? Robin was very good. She would single people out on set and like pull you in, right? Like seeing these really powerful women in the movie, I think totally has like set the tone for my film career, which is kind of wild. Ernesto, I love you, but we didn't have any scenes one-on-one together. But you know, it was cool. Like some days when I wasn't called to set, I would show up because it felt good to be there. Ernesto would show up, right? So even if we didn't have these intense one-on-one scenes, like he absolutely shaped the entire experience of filming and then also just being an artist in a new city.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
one thing I really enjoy about these ensemble type casts is, you know, I'll give you one example. A couple of years ago, I talked with a couple of actors from a movie called Triggered, and it's about 9 friends who have to end up killing each other because they're forced to. But offset, they bonded really well. They ended up becoming best friends, and to this day, they still like talk to each other, and they have never worked with each other before. When you guys were offset, I know Isabel and Ernesto mentioned you guys would just go on set even though you weren't filming that day. Did you guys get to bond offset as well in terms of, you know, doing stuff and, you know, just hanging out when you were done for the day and all that? Did you guys get to do that?
Jon did us a solid. Krystal and I had an Airbnb together, and it was like a block away from the Hollywood Theater in Portland, and we maybe saw half a dozen movies. We had a favorite restaurant we would go to. There was a local bar. Like after set, if we had energy, everyone would hang out. The crew, like it was so special.
I think I probably only like, you know, I've made 11 features, and in the first 10, I think maybe I went out drinking during production once, you know, in all 10 films. And in this film, probably 9 or 10 times, maybe with
So you made up for it basically.
yeah, with
You made up for
everybody
the 10 times.
just bonding, you know, like it was just it was, I'm not saying it was a party offset, but it was fun. You know, we all like, you know, I remember like we had 3 days off in a row and we all needed it, or maybe it was 2 days off. I don't know what it was, but it felt like, yeah, it felt like a lifetime, and we're just, what are we gonna do with these two days that we have? And we went to this local Irish pub and just let loose, and then we went to karaoke afterwards, and Krystal sang Axl Rose's Guns N' Roses Sweet Child of Mine, which is like the best rendition I've seen of that song ever. And Jesse sang Vida Loca, and I don't know, we all sang something. So it was a blast. It was a blast. We definitely bonded and trauma bonded.
How many rap parties do we actually have?
I had like 7 rap parties until somebody finally said, I think we're friends now. I don't think these are rap parties anymore. I think we're just friends.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was very hard to part. I remember going to see Ernesto off at the airport because it just felt awful to know that he was leaving and no one was there with him. And I thought, I'm going to have to drive there and
So special.
one more hug, goodbye,
Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
We were kind of bonded that way. Yeah.
It's horrible.
I
Yeah,
thought
we got really close.
the scenes with the Bigfoot were really cool too. I mean, Sean Sisson wearing the outfit. I mean, how did you discover him to play the Bigfoot character?
Yeah, Lacey Todd, the producer of the film, he's a close friend of hers, and he's a local actor. He'd done some acting, and he is also like producer, filmmaker, mostly commercial type work here in Portland. And the suit was designed for, I think his name's Mark Steele. He's a like creature actor, I guess you could say. He's been like the Predator and a few of the Predator movies, and he's the suit was made for him, right? And so we had to find somebody kind of like Cinderella, like who would fit this suit, and we found him. I mean, everything fit, the shoes fit, the suit of course fit, we had to find somebody who was tall, obviously, like 6'7" or around. I think he's around 6'5". Even the teeth fit. And so, and he had, he had some acting chops, which, near the end of the film when Sean, I mean, we could see like visible tears, toward the end of the film. And I remember Lacey next to me looking at the monitor. And she's like, "Do you see that? Do you see that?" And I could hardly see it, but yeah, I saw it. I could see something.
I saw it. I definitely saw it. I saw it when I saw the movie. I'm like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I remember it was beautiful. I remember we had a talk before about that, like what's happening, like when you're dying, like the sort of like and we talked about Sasquatch kind of feeling like not being this ferocious beast anymore, but being like kind of a lost child, like a lost soul, like kind of wandering what's next, for her. So, and I think he just went into that scene. He used something from his own life, and it worked for him. Whatever that was. He never told me what it was, so it was cool.
Yeah, and I did notice that, like, of course he's supposed to be the Sasquatch, so of course he's gonna be killing people and all that. But at the same time, you get these little beats throughout the film where you see a sympathetic side of him. Like you see just see him like so much as him just walking around and looking around. It's like you kind of feel a little bit. It reminds me of Harry and the Hendersons, where he's not exactly a monstrous beast. He's just he's just there to do his job in a way, protect the like he's seen as the protector of the forest. And then
Right.
and of course that third act was where everything just goes wild and insane. And I think I was just about to say, I think I was kind of funny, but it was when Isabelle confronts the beast and she just screams at him. I was literally like, did that just really happen?
It's funny. Yeah, that was her idea too. She's like, can I try this instead of just standing there? And I was like, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. And we tried it out, and it really worked. I love that scene. Some people ask me like, so what happened afterwards? Like, did Sasquatch like tackle her and say like, just kidding? I'm gonna go, I don't know, like what, and I was like, I don't know what happened.
I'm so strong. Sasquatch can't budge me. He runs
Right.
in, and I'm like, nice try. Come again.
Yeah, she flexed, and then Sasquatch ran away or something, But it's like what you were talking about Sasquatch walking through the forest and whatnot. I think like the horror fanatics that are going here, to watch Something in the Spirit, for the kills and whatnot are very disappointed when they find out that that we're not like sort of that we're not saving our monster till the end, or we're not like there's not more kills or whatever, like like the fact that chose to show this more human side of a Sasquatch, you know, almost like National Geographic footage of just hanging out in nature. You know, they seem disappointed, like, you know, oh, like, why is it walking through the forest? I'm like, well, you know, what the fuck does a Sasquatch do when they're not killing people? You know, they probably do. Yeah, you're right. They probably do
you gotta
what an
give
ape does, you know?
gotta give them time to you gotta give that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I like. I'm a horror fan, but I like this one because I like the tension. I like it the rock, you know, what brings it up. Let the tension build, you know, before the big boom happens. You know, that's what I really like about this film because you know we also get to focus on the cult itself and you know what's Arlo's real motive. You know, I'm sorry, he's a tease, man. He was like, one of us is gonna get sacrificed. You know, one of us is gonna sacrifice the spirit, and it's like I'm the one. I'm like, I would have been like, man, you ain't right. You know, that would have been my reaction.
That's funny. Yeah, and I thought that Isabelle and Celeste did that look. You know, nobody said anything, you know, but she had like a look in that scene that was like, you know, it was great, you know, and then, you know, she has the vision and whatnot, and they talk about it, but it was, yeah, you know, it's one of those nuances, like you hope, like, you know, people are following long enough to notice what's happening, you know, and I think Some of These Spirits, one of these films that like information is given sequentially over time, you know, and you know, it's like, unfortunately, it's not the kind of movie like you can watch in the background, like while you're doing your work or whatever. Like you'll get to the end and you'll be like, you know, what is going on? It's like, well, there's stuff and there's information, you know what I mean? It's just, you have to like watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
I think this is
exactly.
fresh in my mind because I just read 2 reviews, one from the Boston Herald that I really want to punch them, you know, you know,
Being
and
honest.
yeah. And so I don't know. So that's why I'm like, you know, did you watch the whole movie from beginning to end? Did you watch the whole thing? And that's what I'm, you know, anyway, I don't know, you know, so.
Exactly. And like I said, like the finale, it reminded me of a movie that came out in the 80s. And I'm gonna reveal what the movie is. It's a movie called The Prey because you know it has that it has it remind me of a similar ending about what happens, not to spoil anything, but it had that same kind of riff to it, like what happens to the final girl and what happens to the creature. It's something exactly like that, but we get to see more in your film of what really happens, you know, what is the end result rather than hearing like a noise at the end. We get the full thing, and then those end credits were like I was kind of laughing because that's when we see, you know, it's all a happy song at the end. And I'm just going, I just said, wow. I'm like, and then I was like, you know what? I love this movie. I was like, I never expected an ending to end like this with a happy song, but I love it. I absolutely love it. That's what I was telling myself.
I love that. I love that. I watched it with a friend, and who I watched it with several friends, but one especially that had that same reaction. We watched it together, and she's like, "Wow, wow!" Like, you know, like I didn't see this coming. Like I didn't, you know, and like that's great. You know, that's like we don't want to be predictable, you know, and we hope that the payoff is you know you know, suffices the audience, you know.
Exactly.
So,
So with that said, what's next for each of you after now that Something the Spirit's out? What's next? Is there anything next for you guys in the works on the horizons?
yeah. Well, yeah, I'll let everyone else go first. Maybe we can go and Ernesto, you want to go next? What's next for you?
Sure. Well, there are things in the works. I think there's a lot going on in the whole industry at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, so I can't say there is anything like until, you know, things kind of like settle in a way. Especially I live here in Florida and also California.
See, I'm
But yeah,
also in Florida, so there you go.
yes, yes. But there is definitely, we've talked about a project also with Johncito as well. That might be in the future. That would be amazing to, you know, to work again together with this amazing people. And yeah, that's pretty much for me.
How about you, Krystal? What's going on with you?
Well, I'm just waiting to see how this film does, and I'm in a few feature films that I've already shot that are going to come out next year. I have a few plays here in South Florida. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to just seeing how else my career will grow.
All right.
Yeah, well, I've talked to all of them about everyone on this call now about another project I'm working on called The State of Limerence, and it's like a sci-fi. I guess you can call it a sci-fi, soft sci-fi, like a relationship movie, like about love in the future and how the regional bureaucracies get involved in helping with the the mental health aspects of heartbreak, getting involved in how to help people with heartbreak, with these government retreats that they have on weekends, with the people that are in love and with the objects of their affection. And so it's a little sci-fi film, but I've talked to all of them about it. And so that, and then like a mermaid movie came my way. I'm trying to figure out what that's going to be all about, and we're still talking about that one. And it's untitled so far. And then there's a film called Past the Guard I've been working on for a long time. And that one is getting closer and closer. And I'm working with some of the same producers as this movie. And it's an LGBT MMA feature film.
Oh,
and so
nice.
It's really exciting.
I don't think we've. I'm a huge martial arts film fan too, so I was like, I don't think we've had an LGBTQ like martial arts film or anything like of that nature. So I think that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that
Yeah,
out.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there has, there's the one with Halle Berry that had like UFC
Yeah.
ties, and I forget. Gosh, I'm blanking on the title right now. But there's that one, and then of course in the series Kingdom, with Nick Jonas, there was like a season where they had, they covered those types of issues. But
Yeah.
like the
yeah.
UFC,
Yeah, there's also Beautiful Boxer, the biopic about the transgender kickboxer. I remember that.
It's beautiful. You like that one was way ahead of its time.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was like way ahead of its time. Yeah. That's it for me. I'll let Isabelle and Robin go.
Yeah, Isabelle, because now that you finished your first feature film, what's next for you? What's anything that you got hopefully gonna have happen?
Dude, I just wrapped another feature in June, right before the strike. And I'm so excited about it, but I can't talk about it.
That's okay. Well, either way, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely gonna.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm in Chicago right now, and I'm doing A View from the Bridge. And so I'm really diving into the theater world again. Loving it.
It's awesome. And finally, Robin, anything you got to do before the strikes hit?
Well, I've been working on becoming the ultimate supreme being of the universe. It's still we're still working on that. I'm still negotiating that. But I've done a couple things, and they're starting to be released, which was fun. I had like them all come out at once, which was kind of an odd week. Just sitting in my living room and there they are, kind of thing. But like Jon said, looking forward to working with Jon again. And I've got another little small film project going on in Seattle, probably in September. So yeah, just
Awesome.
living the dream as best I can.
Well, I'm hoping you get to be the next Star Lord, Robin, because that's.
I could see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enough tequila, anything is possible.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Summoning the Spirit is now available, guys. You need to check this one out. I know horror film fans are gonna like the hardcore horror film fans this may not be their cup of tea, but someone like me who likes the tension building, who likes the Bigfoot, who likes the stuff with cults, I definitely enjoyed this one. I'm hoping there are many who will enjoy this film. And Jon, Krystal, Ernesto, Isabelle, Robin, it's been a pleasure to talk to you about this movie.
You too, man. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Y'all take care.
You too, bud.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.